Hello and welcome to another About the Albums. And today we're talking about the thing that was in the title and that probably showed up before I did. The album Robots and Shit. Originally released in May of 2013. The whole thing is mostly a concept album-ish about the concept of robots and, that kind of shit. Which is how I got the name. He's talking about robots and shit. Just do a whole album about a bunch of robots and get that out of your system. Sorry if I'm a little rusty. It's been, you can't tell because this probably is going to come out on schedule, in the weekly schedule I've planned for this. But for me, it's been a little while since I actually recorded one of these. So you probably didn't need to know that. You probably don't care about that. That's probably not interesting. But I said it, and I can't edit these, so there it is. And from what I remember, Robots and Shit was a interesting album, little hit and miss. But I guess we'll see how I feel about it now and how you feel about it now. I don't really have much else to preface this. I don't think it was just. Again, I was a lot of songs about robots and the like. The like being shit, but not literal shit. Just, think of shit as synonymous with stuff. But it sounds funnier to say robots and shit. It's also something you have to bleep on TV and makes it less friendly for, children. But other than that, it's good. And that's a good enough opener, I guess. Also, in the description, I'm going to be putting in timestamps for each of the songs, as well as links to the individual songs. And I'll link the playlist of the full album if you want to hear all of the stuff, and not just the little clips you're going to get here. So that's a thing. And, there's also a comment section if you want to ask more things than you'll hear here. If there's other things you're curious about that I maybe didn't go through. We'll see if we can get as much information on this as possible, if there's any left in my brain. And now, to the songs.
Kill the robot. Please don't kill me. Kill the robot. Please don't kill me.
Kill the Robot opens up the album. Kind of a simpler one to kind of get you into the whole album. It's just kind of slowly putting you into easing you, and that's the way I want to say that, easing you into the robot theme. And it's a thing of you made robots and we love them, and then all of a sudden they're doing things that scare us, and then we hate them, and then all of a sudden we now are the robots, and then people are trying to kill me now because people hate robots. It's kind of like the general curve. It's pretty simplified in that sense, so it's not like it's going into great detail there, but that was kind of like the idea when making it. And it's kind of a simple building up on the riffs and stuff to add more and more to it. And I thought that was kind of a neat way to start the album, and also like the way it ends, how it's kind of abrupt, the way it just kind of stops. In a way that wasn't me just cutting the song abruptly. It actually was just the way I had planned it to stop there. So I like that. It came off pretty well in that sense. And it's an interesting way to start an album. It doesn't seem like the usual way I would start an album, but I did it here, and that's where it is. You'll also note I still haven't scripted any of these, and still suck at improv. So look forward to that forever. Just for fucking ever. Blow That Dick Away is a song that's, I guess, not really that much about robots. When you think about it, I think it used some similar, kind of robotic sounding tones, was still kind of keeping it in the mood and the theme of the album that way, but the song itself really doesn't have anything to do with robots, I suppose. And it's just, I think it was just really funny because on the surface of it, It's essentially about like rigging like this place up with all kinds of explosives, and just blowing this person up, referring to them as a dick. Maybe their name is Dick, but probably just because they're dicks, we're gonna blow them up. We're gonna blow them away. Um, and also, I thought it was funny the double meaning might mean, like, I think the obvious one people will go to after that, blow that dick away, which just sounds like, like a blowjob. But funnier yet was the other idea that I had in my head was that this third layer of what if they're just literally rigging up this guy's dick with explosives and they're gonna explode his dick. So I thought that was a pretty funny just to have those three layers on top of this. Obviously the blowjob one doesn't really hold water when you talk about all the explosives. What does that have to do with blowjob? Nothing. But the other two, that's funny stuff to me. Maybe it's not to anyone else. Maybe you know what? Maybe I need to seek help. But if you don't think that's funny, maybe you need to seek help. And find out. Try to get like a GPS, or get a globe, an atlas, or a compass or something, so you can try to find your fucking sense of humor. You piece of shit.
Maybe I'm not just a robot. Maybe I'm a little more than a machine, but I don't know. And how can I not calculate an answer?
A machine is very much in the spirit of robots and shit. It's about a robot that is essentially, I guess, given some form of sentience somehow, or is gaining it, and is trying to understand what it's like to become human, to understand these weird things that humans are saying that are not true, and then wondering, like, what is it like? Are there other machines like it that can think in this manner and feel in this way? And I mean, it's kind of it's somewhat of a cliche, I guess, sci-fi thing to do. Also, I mean, it's not like it's a new idea, but it's just kind of a fun, interesting one to explore. Where a lot of the music is atmospheric, it's not very musical. It's just trying to give this weird, like, sense of like droning, very mechanical sounding, like almost like some weird metallic factory sound, and it's just things going around and working and processing and trying to make this all make sense. So it's kind of interesting in that sense. Also, funny side note here, just now I found this out during recording this, something that I don't think I remembered for years, probably since I first recorded it. There's a line, and it's like, if I wonder if there are others like me, such a human machine. And for whatever reason, for a long time, I kept thinking I was saying subterhuman machine. I think because of the vocal effect or something, but like subterhuman, I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if that makes sense. But for a long time, I thought it was subterhuman machine, and I listened to it. I'm like, oh, I'm obviously saying such a human machine, and that's something I would have actually probably said. I maybe would have said subterhuman machine because I thought it sounded cool, and because later on I did think it sounded cool, I just kind of convinced myself that's what it was. But that's an interesting little fact there. Maybe, I hope. Please don't say I'm wrong on that, because if you do, I mean, I'm not gonna cry or anything, but like, I will feel bad, slightly, and in a way that won't significantly impact my life, but it just won't make me feel good in that moment. So, come on, man, if you're gonna go through the effort just to do that, I mean, that makes you sad. I'm not depressed, you're depressed.
Troubleshoot, 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 just reboot.
Troubleshoot is loosely based on the idea of troubleshooting problems on your computer, and that's mostly it. It's just kind of saying vaguely relatable computer words, and that's mostly it. But the thing that's kind of cool about it is, I mean, I like the music bits, even though those are pretty simple too. But like the opening with the drums, because you can hear the echo effect on those drums sounds pretty cool. Which you can probably tell because I let it run that long. But I actually made the echo effect manually instead of just having an effect put on the stuff, like with my effects pedal or whatever. I just actually went in and took the audio that was the song, and then I just, like, in Movie Maker, I'd put a second track of it and make it quieter and, like, slightly, like, after. And so I kind of mess with that to make my own echo, so that I get a good, clean, and consistent echo with it, so it's like, and it doesn't have to have some kind of effect on it when I'm doing it. I kind of like that. So, it was an interesting experiment to do something like that. It sounds kind of cool with the vocals and stuff too, and the music itself. But especially, like, it sounds neat with the beginning part with the drums. I thought it sounded really cool. And then in the end, it all just kind of is this crazy mayhem because it's like, oh, it's the end of the song now, so it's, my computer's breaking down. That was the thought behind that, anyways. So probably should have done some troubleshooting before they did, died. Before the blue screen of fuck. What? Death.
Jesus was a robot. Jesus was a robot. Jesus was a robot. Jesus was a robot.
Jesus was a robot is another eye-catching title, and this is another example of, hey, I'm atheist, and I think I'm kind of trying to show that. And I know originally when I was doing this, because, like, the concept of the song, okay, is pretty self-explanatory. It's about Jesus actually being a robot. Wasn't actually, these other stories we've heard about Jesus aren't true. No, Jesus is actually a robot. And I kind of was under the impression when I was writing it, I really believed, and I was like, yeah, no, this isn't really me being like, no, offensive or anything, right? It's just me like, wouldn't it be awesome? Like, you should like that. If you believe in Jesus, wouldn't it be awesome to believe he was a robot? Wouldn't that be a cool concept? But I also was kind of naively stupid, thinking that that won't offend anybody, because I'm sure it did. I didn't hear a whole lot about people being upset about it, but I don't know. It's also just me having, a fun song on an album about a bunch of robots and stuff. And I don't know. It's not like it got a whole lot of traction or anything. So I don't think there's a whole lot of harm done with it. But I guess I can see how that might offend some people who don't believe that Jesus was a robot or can't believe that he could have been, or still is. So that was a little silly. Also near the end of the song, you can hear when I'm like is going off and Jesus was a robot. Besides there being the funny line of robot was a Jesus when I flip it around, which I still think is really funny. You can tell that I'm like the way I'm singing it, I want to sing it louder than that. But for one thing, I don't know if my vocal range can do that in the song, and also I think I maybe just didn't want people to hear when I was recording it or something. I didn't want to be super loud. So it came off a little weird, but on the other hand, it probably can't be weirder than the noises that my stomach keeps making when I'm trying to record these, because it's fine, all day until I want to try to record something, and then my stomach's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to now make gurgling sounds for several hours, or until you're done trying to do this. Either one would be fine with me, because I hate you. It's not just me saying that, right? That was in a letter. I don't have it on me right here. It's not part of the set, but I have the letter. So if you don't believe me, then that makes you a liar.
What happened here? How can this be? Not part of them is inside me. I had been born a human being, but my new heart is all machine.
Saved by Science is just about this concept of someone getting, badly, like, injured, and then they're having themselves be rebuilt and repaired with robot parts by robots, and having this weird crisis of, am I a human now, or am I a robot, or am I somewhere in between? What sign am I on? What am I? And it's a thing. It's a really short song, But it's kind of a creepy concept, and it's slightly thought-provoking. But yeah, it's a very, very short song, and I just have a bunch of voices on top of one another to kind of make it sound more creepy and confusing, I guess. But it's short, so I guess the segment about it should be short, because that's all I have to say. Except for the fuck-up, I guess I had to say that too. Why Do They Fear These Metals? Is a song about people being afraid of robots and machines, which are usually made of various different kinds of metals: iron, steel, copper, what have you, and the like. Do not forget about the like, or the what have you. And it's a lot of just really creepy, like holding notes going on there, just weird, very metallic sounding notes, and instruments, and like, I guess the notes aren't metallic sounding, the instruments are, the tones of them are, and just like, this, a bunch of different voices like going on, repeating their same like lines over and over again, you know, saying things and questioning things, and it's very eerie and creepy and kind of, I guess, a little bit ironic, maybe that's the wrong word, but it just they're sounding really scary. This whole thing sounds very scary while they're asking why do they fear these metals. Also, you keep hearing this little thing that I've looped, and I keep like putting in and it's pretty low in the mix, I think, and it's really sped up and stuff, but you hear the full thing at the end, and it's just a clip of me with that distortion and stuff on my voice, saying something that I wanted it to not be very distinguishable. But what I'm actually saying in that clip is, you smell like bathroom. And I think the only reason I wanted that to be there it was to be a fun tidbit. So people ask, like, what is that? It's like, oh, it's me saying you smell like bathroom. Just because I thought that was funny. But since no one ever asked before, this is the first time it's actually been a fun thing to say. So here, we'll pretend that it was the whole reason I started this. But we'll keep going anyway because we're this far, right? Speaking of other weird things that are totally lies and pointless and stupid and whatever, the button that there's no pool on, that I keep referencing there's a pool on, is still on though, right? It's still hanging out here, so is that bit old yet? I don't know. Dr. Robot, so it's not very good. I don't like it that much, personally. But, it's just about a robot that's a doctor. And his name is Dr. Robot. I guess that isn't necessarily a he, but I said it, so now it's canon. And not the kind that you shoot, although it could be that too. You could get that installed. Why not? He is a fucking robot. It's just kind of repeating the same lines over and over, and I had multiple voices, and all of them seemed too low in the mix. They just came out too quiet, and I couldn't really do anything to fix that at this point. Even at the time I was, like, editing the files originally, I don't think I could have fixed that. I think I tried to, and I really couldn't. Also, I think part of the reason I kind of also don't like this that much is that the main backing, like, progression of things is a preset on the keyboard, so I had to keep doing that to make it do what I wanted it to do. And then I played some pieces over that, like a lot of the solo-y bits and like some other little instrumental parts, like instruments on top of it, to make it sound more robotic than it did. But I still, I'm leaning on a preset for a lot of it, and I feel bad about that. There's just some like form of like guilt that happens when I do that kind of stuff. I like to be like, no, I made it. So that's a bit of a shame, but the song wasn't that great anyway, so I don't even think if I had played something like that, I don't think it would have made it any better. I think it would have still been kind of rough and not necessarily the greatest idea. Maybe it could have had better execution had it been balanced correctly audio wise, but even then, it would have just been like, I get it, it's goofy. As it stands, it's a failed goof. A failed goof. Or something. I don't fucking know.
We must compute, we must process and analyze all of this mess. We must compute, we must process and analyze all of this mess.
We Machines is about more about just machines that aren't really or even like basic computers or something, things that are meant to be, I guess really the state of most computers and machines and whatnot. I guess is the idea that like they're designed to just do what we programmed them to do and do that really efficiently. It's almost taking this weird angle of, it's almost an angle of like, oh, like they're these oppressed machines, but really they don't feel anything either. So they just like, they're not made to think or anything. So it's, I think I did a pretty good job. Something I'm good at with my lame ass voice, my monotone, boring ass voice. I was able to sound pretty monotone in here and not, stray my notes and give them too much emotions. Too much emotion, too many emotions. That's how you talk. And like I also kind of like the little neat thing. I mean, the whole song is very like repetitive and robotic, like on purpose too. And again, that worked well because I'm good enough at playing the same thing repetitively. I'm decent at that. So it kind of it was using the strengths of my weaknesses. I wasn't really playing to my strengths so much as it was playing to the strengths of my weaknesses. If that makes sense. And if it doesn't, I don't know. I don't even fucking know if it doesn't. But, I don't know. It's just kind of a neat song because of the way that came together, and also the fun little thing of there's the first verse, and there's a second verse, and then for the third verse, it's actually just the first and second verse sung at the same time on the two different tracks. So it's really hard to understand what's happening, but both verses are so confident in what they're doing, and they're doing it in the same way they did the first time. So I thought that was an interesting experiment to do that to it. But overall, yeah, it's a pretty simple song and concept, and it has, for a song that's supposed to be pretty emotionless, it definitely has sort of a sour mood to it, kind of. Definitely, sort of, kind of. I don't know. I should script things. I wish I was a robot, so that I could do these flawlessly, or at least better than this. Fewer flaws. I mean, this is beyond human error. This is like, disgusting abomination, whatever this is, error. And that's a pretty big error. Margin of error. I don't know I wish I could finish a thought before I start it. That would be a good idea. And on that note, let's leave this clip and go to the next one, because holy shit, what is wrong with me? Don't Cross the Chrome is about these robots that have, just a counterpart, another robot, and something goes wrong and it needs repairing, so they have the humans do it, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll fix it, and so they try to do that and end up failing, and they can't make the robot work anymore, and the other robots see this as a deliberate act of terminating their counterpart, and so they end up breaking free from the facility where they're being kept, where they were created and everything, and being tested, and they break free, they storm this town and take it, and they create their own base, they start building their own army of robots with more weapons, and once they're ready, finally they come back and start trying to destroy the human race to get revenge for what they've done. And that's kind of a cool plot. Yeah, definitely a bit more to that than some of the other songs. And I really like, there's the vocal effect that sounds cool on the voice where it starts up as like the ooh, and like the way the note bends is cool, like a machine like starting up. I also like at the end, like holding that one note at the end, it goes down like ew, like it's like powering down. Like I like that little, like the way that was able to sound. That was a cool thing that effect allowed me to do, while also sounding cool to sing with the effect on the voice. And the tones, especially like the bass notes and stuff going with that, like the kind of like synth and or like the sawtooth kind of thing, along with the like weird like choir sound, kind of reminded me of something you'd hear from like the Metroid series of video games. So I really liked the feeling of the song, and that it had like a story. It came together pretty well. The only thing that's a little confusing is that in my head, I always think this is called We Machines, because part of the chorus or whatever says We Machines as one of the lines. So I always think of that right away, especially because that's right before it. But no, it's called Don't Cross the Chrome, which also is a much cooler title as well. So that's how you remember. Especially if you're confusing the two, which is which, just remember which one sounds cooler. Oh yeah, that one. That's the cool one. That's a good mnemonic device. There's now no mnemonic devices. Computer compute is mostly beeps and boops, and saying the words computer compute, and also saying beep and boop. It's pretty simple. It's a lot of, beeping tones and stuff on it, and I think it maybe goes on a little long for how little it does, but it's about a computer, alright, and how it makes noises. And that was pretty much the whole idea for the song. And I had an echo effect on my voice, but not on the instruments. So there's also that for some reason, which makes it actually, the effect also has some like other like distortion or something on it. So it's hard to understand a lot of the words I was saying, which doesn't really help much. So overall, this is one where I'd say it's not really much of a winner. My light just get brighter? I don't know. Maybe it dimmed and went back. I don't know. The point is, this song is another one that's kind of in quality.
Robots and shit. Robots and shit.
Robots and Shit is the title track, and you could probably guess that one. You probably could figure it out even if you didn't guess. But yeah, it's about robots and shit. And it's just the idea of like robots are being developed, and we're continuing to develop more sophisticated robots as time goes on. A lot of people are afraid of the progression of robots and what that might mean for us in the future, while others are just pushing it forward. It just keeps going, and I also like that I've worked in the concept of shit being a physical thing, the like literal shit of, well, the idea of when we see a robot with a gun, we'll all be too scared to shit, which I guess we probably already kind of do with things like drones and whatnot, and then things I'm not even super aware of. But yeah, it's a funny thing to think that I worked that into there in a literal sense as well. And yeah, the song's neat. I like the progression of it, even if it is a bit simple. My singing wasn't the best in it. I have some weird note choices. I'm trying to vary it up, but I'm trying not to go too far out of my range and what will fit as a note that I understand will fit as a note in my head. So you can kind of tell there's a little bit of that battle going on, but it's alright. it's okay. And you know, for something coming out of me, okay is for those standards, it's pretty good. Okay, it's pretty good. It's better than being bad, which is, you know, average for me. Shut those fucking birds up. Send the Robot was just about this idea that we have these robots that, you know, like drones and things, and robots we can use to send in for war. And it could also be kind of fictional if, like, we have a whole robot army or whatever. And the idea of, like, well, why are we sending in people when we can send in robots instead? Why don't we just do that? And actually, I think the song had the potential to be, like, really awesome, and I still like it quite a bit. But the thing is, I have the layered thing, so I could have two of me singing, but you can hear it slightly off. I didn't get it lined up perfectly. There's also times when you hear one track like cuts out, one of the two tracks will cut out, and it's like different for each one, and it's because essentially what happened was I had just all this like parts where I didn't sing at the exact same beats, so it didn't line up well, and it sounded so off that I cut out parts of them and kept other parts. And so it kind of weird. The ending part also was an accidental harmony of just like, oh, I lost where the notes were, but then it ended up being harmony, so it worked out well in the end. So if I had all these things planned and did them correctly, it could have been really awesome. But instead, it's just kind of cool. And that's the album, so, you know, button's still on. If there's anything extra you want to ask me, there's the comments. I got all the timestamps, the full album link, the song links, all that's there in the description. Check that stuff out if you want. Let me know what you thought. And that's been another About the Albums, so hopefully it's been cool. And hopefully not shit. There, I tied it in. I made a thing. Like most videos, I've made a thing. I'll see you next time, though. It was cool that you showed up if you did. And if you didn't, that wasn't very cool of you, but you won't see this to hear me berate you anyways. So everybody wins. Mostly anyone who's not me wins. But I'm nobody, so I wouldn't count anyway. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is improv. I'm getting out of here. So the cover art for Robots and Shit here is just this upside down triangle that I've kind of used as a, you may have seen on multiple covers now. It's a bit of a motif of mine. I originally did it, I would write this nickname I came up for myself, because you could write whatever you wanted in a school book or a yearbook picture thing instead of your name necessarily. So I put the Sam on it, and then I started writing the Sam on everything in all caps. And eventually I started always doing it as the Sam and doing the triangle, upside down triangle like that, because I thought it was neat. And then I just kind of used that for a lot of things. This motif of an upside down triangle like this. And here I've used it in this, I made everything black and gray to make it kind of lifeless to go with the robots and shit theming. I don't think I originally used, for the original cover, actually, I don't think I used these fonts. I think I used this, like, they're close. But I've changed them slightly to a few different fonts here, I think. Maybe the robots part was still in, maybe it was still in Impact, but I think it was in, like, a, what is it? I think it might have been, like, not all caps, but I don't know. I don't remember specifically. Off the top of my head, doesn't matter. This is the one we got now, and all you really had to do is redo the fonts mostly, and then touch up some of the sides of those. And I also kind of like that I wrote out the word "and" instead of putting an ampersand. I think that was an interesting choice, because normally you would just see that to make things shorter, but writing out "and shit" makes it feel somehow more like blunt, and I kind of like that. So that's that is the exciting tale of the background here, the cover. It's not a background; it's a cover of the album. It's woo boy, how exciting!
Robot was a Jesus.